We are back with another episode of your weekly pop culture apocalypse. As always, I am your co-host, Gnarly Quinn, joined by the main man, Matthias, and we have a very interesting one for you today. We would like to start doing news weeks at the end of every month. And we've been failing for the last couple months, but that's because we had so much stuff in store. We were just so excited to share with everybody. So now we actually finally got a chance we made some time to sit down and do this news week. So before I start with any things that I have to say, I actually got this Newsweek list back in January whenever we were first talking about this. However, most of the things that were on it I still feel are actually relevant, and I do have some updates on. So I'll share what I have from January, and I'll also share the updates that I did this month whenever we were looking.
Well, first things first. One, yes, I do apologize. We've been trying to do this for months now. So I have two topics I'm sticking with and one topic I read up on this week that was pretty cool. Two, just letting you know, Quinn, you don't have to yell. This is live. Everyone can hear you.
Dude, I am so excited. As always.
Yeah, go ahead. You start. My stage fright's kicking in. You go ahead and start it.
All right, so the first one that I got was, it was actually really, really recent. So they are doing a new Hush series for the Batman comics. And I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's H2SH, so I'm just going to say it as Hush 2. The original Hush series, I absolutely loved it, and I know you had raving reviews for it as well. I know we briefly touched on the subject, but it originally began in 2002, and the original creative team was Joseph Loeb as the writer, the colorist was Alex Sinclair, and Jim Lee was the penciler. So all three of those guys are back to do the Hush 2 series. And they had a really great article on DC.com that I had read up on, and they actually sat down with an interview with these guys, and it was just amazing. They're really focusing on the artwork and the coloring of the story. Joseph Loeb was actually talking about how Alex Sinclair limited his color palette to feel more like the OG Hush storyline, but also to give it such a good feel. If I remember correctly, he said that all of the panels are going to be dedicated to one color, which is a very interesting concept to me. And Loeb is super excited for everyone to see how Jim Lee has grown as an artist. The original Hush series actually had the very first time that Batman tells Catwoman his name, and they actually begin their relationship. I actually did not realize that that is where the whole Batman-Catwoman relationship actually started. So they say that they're actually going to start to build upon that, as well as his relationship with Jim Gordon and Superman. So the first issue of that was Batman number 158. As of right now, it kicked off and was released yesterday, Wednesday, March 26th. So at the time of, right now, as we are recording this, and at the time that this will be released, it is available in digital and print. So I do highly recommend going and check that out, because they said, and I quote, buckle up.
Buckle up. Did you see... this isn't one of my topics, but did you see that DC's doing that thing called Absolute Comics? Did you see that?
I did see that. It was very interesting. I do want to check it out. I'm excited for that. I really am. I'm excited to see what that's going to have in store.
I just seen a reel of it on one of the, like it was either Facebook or TikTok, whatever, and it said about, new Absolute Comics, and Batman looks pretty sick as always. But anyway, that's what it reminded me of. So this is what I'm probably late on the game on this, but like I said, I'm not going to switch this because I'm excited about this, because I am a 90s kid.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a rumor. All right, I'm going to get this out of the way. So Sega, you've heard of Sega, right? You know, Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. Okay. That was sarcasm, but I just want to make sure because you're like, 10 years old. So,
12
because Sega's kind of having, I want to say a renaissance, but they're doing really good right now. Like, their Sonic movies are pretty decent, making a lot of money. Sonic's games are doing really very well financially and, by critic gameplay. So there's rumor I heard that because of the fan appreciation and how well they're doing, that there are talks of them getting back into the console war. They want to make a console again.
Ooh.
Yeah. They still do make games. They're just not a first party developer that don't have their own console. It's just Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox, and Steam. Steam has their own handheld console. But I'm excited about that because the last one I got was, I think, oh, here we go again. So the Dreamcast came out, like, I think the year you were born. Was it 2000? Is that right? Is that when you were born? Anyway, so I'm excited about that. I did enjoy some the Sony systems when I was younger, and I'm excited to see what they're going to get
Absolutely.
into. But yeah, I want to see if that rumor's going to come true or not, because that'd be really fun if they did do that. What was
That
one
is
of your
absolutely
other?
something to keep an eye out for sure.
It is. I was excited to hear that, but it's just
So,
rumor, pure speculation.
yeah. I'm glad you brought up the game consoles too, because all the way back in January, I found out about the Nintendo Switch 2. So if anyone is a big fan of Switch, they were supposed to be coming out with the Nintendo Switch 2. There was talks of a potential release date leak, and I found two different sources. So there was a retailer in Finland, and I'm probably going to butcher this name. It was called Consolanet, and they published a listing for the Switch 2. It was to ramp up excitement and get the website ready for the release. So whenever companies do this, they have a placeholder price and a placeholder like release date. The placeholder price was 999 euros, and the placeholder release date was May 9th, 2025. And everyone thought this was odd because usually when companies do this, they choose numbers and prices that are easy, like just either first or last week of the month, or just random dates that are like so simple. And they also choose prices that are just, the same numbers, because they have no idea. So they just try to just throw a number out that's super easy that they can change later. So it was such a specific date that everyone was kind of wrapped up in arms, like, oh my gosh, like, did they accidentally release the actual release date for this?
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to be after all of the dates for their hands-on events. So everyone was kind of wondering what that was about. In this month, there was some updates on that. There is a three-phase plan that they're going to do. And I guess phase 1 is to actually release the Switch. And it's supposed to be released, there's talks about that going on in June. And then obviously phase 2 is going to be all of their games and everything that's associated with the Switch 2, all the games according to that. And then according to Nintendo, there is a Nintendo Direct on the Nintendo Switch that is going to be happening April 2nd of 2025. And it is going to be 6 a.m. Pacific time. And if you're in the East like we are, it would be 9 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're interested in something like that, I would absolutely check that out. Check out the Nintendo Direct for that's coming up soon.
We really were talking about getting a Switch, not just for her and I,
yeah,
and nostalgia reasons, but for the girls, because it looks like I've never actually played one, but it looks fun.
My buddy at work actually has one, and he absolutely loves it. Him and his kid play it all the time. And also, from what I saw, not to interrupt you, sorry, I just remembered this too. There was talks that one of the games might actually have a 60 frame per second mode, and there are talks that might actually be a mode that is released on the Nintendo Switch 2.
Awesome sauce. Yeah,
so if you're thinking about getting a Switch, I'd hold out for that.
Well, we were talking about that. We might hold on. The last Nintendo system I got was a Wii. that was fun.
Oh yeah, that was the last one I had. Yeah, either that or the Game Boy. I know we talked about that briefly.
I'm sorry. The last main system I had was a Wii, but I still play on the 3DS and the DS every now and again because I like Pokemon and I can't stop. The other thing was, I got one more thing. AI. They said that they want to have more options for like us civilians to be adapted to like video games. And that's just crazy thinking about that, because can you imagine playing, I give you an example, Skyrim. I'm sure you've either heard of it or played it or seen someone play it. It's a pretty big world. I wouldn't say on the fly ever changing, but you can probably put 400 hours into it and probably not find everything. But can you imagine like a world like that, and AI's generating something random all the time that you're not expecting, like that advanced? Like, it's never going to be the same.
Yeah, that would be insane. And also something that would like grow with you too. So like as you learn, it's learning how you are learning the game, and it's changing the way the game is played as you are playing it.
Yeah. Enemies adapt to you. They see your fighting style, and I'll give you an example. So you're playing that game, you come up a bunch of wizards, and they're glass cannons. If you can get to them, you can kill them. That's a big if. And let's say they're like, oh, this guy
Oh
fights
God.
like this. So the next time you take them on, they'll have a bunch of wizards and a freaking barbarian. So they'll have a tank trying to
Oh my God.
throw some aggro on, have an aggro, making sure you focus on him, and then you have wizard. It's just, my point is, it's an ever growing worlds where it is hardly ever going to be the same battle or mission or thing twice. Let's say you chop down a tree and you're playing that game for like 2 or 3 years, you'll see that tree grow. It's
Oh
nuts,
my
like the
God.
detail. Yeah, I know, it's the details. And you'll see crap corroding. You'll see wood start to deteriorate. It's just little stuff like that. It's just the devil in detail, and it's just crazy thinking about that, how they're going to implement that AI in games.
That
How
would
much
completely revolutionize the way that games are played.
Well, yeah, because respectfully, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, I'm watching the graphics and I'm like, I don't know how much more better they can do it. But now with AI, they can go way, not just graphics. I'm kind of okay with where they're at now. I mean, I really don't, that's just me, but gameplay wise, advancements in skill sets or however that works, that's amazing thinking about that. Is how far they can go now. Like the ceiling
That is true.
has been lifted and they found a big ladder.
They found like a rocket ship. It's
They
going to take
found
them
an
straight
elevator.
into space.
They found an elevator that's powered by rockets, and they have that elevator music playing the whole time.
Yeah, actually, I feel like that's the way that AI should be played. The way AI should be used.
Yeah, I mean, it is, a lot of the stuff is scary, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's just, oh, movies this, books that, but I don't like to think about that. But yeah, I know, but it can be helpful.
Absolutely.
It's crazy how far, I don't even know the limits. Before there was limits, now if there was, you can't see it. It's just crazy.
It is absolutely insane. I do have one more before we go, if you would like to
Yeah, we got a little bit of time.
Okay, all right. So the last one that I had, I actually found very interesting. I know a lot of people, I feel like the Scream franchise has kind of gotten worn out over time, but I still thought it was very interesting. They are supposed to be doing a Scream 7. It was supposed to go into production early 2024, but they had a lot of hardship with the directors and actors, both alike, leaving for personal reasons. At first directing, it was supposed to be Christopher Landon, and he had left for personal reasons. It was supposed to go into Tyler Gillett as a writer and director, and then it ended up going to Matt Bettinelli-Oplin, who had also left. So they had 3 different writers and directors that left the project for their own personal reasons, and it was transferred over to Kevin Williamson. He is largely known as the screenwriter and the producer that did Scream, Scream 2, Scream 4, and I'm probably forgetting a few, but he also did The Vampire Diaries and The Exorcism with Russell Crowe. That was just to name a few. And then some of the actors that ended up leaving was Jenna Ortega. There was some scheduling conflicts with her, so she had left, and Melissa Barrera was supposed to be the lead role, and she had left for her own personal reasons. So the people that we know are coming back, Neve Campbell's coming back as Sidney Prescott, Courtney Cox is coming back as Gail Weathers, and Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown are coming back as Chad and Mindy Meeks Martin. That is all we know as of right now. I did not see any updates for this. I honestly didn't even check. I still thought that it was still pretty early, especially with all the troubles that they had, so I just thought it was interesting. There's supposed to be a 2026 release date for it, so it should be coming soon. If you are interested in the Scream movies, I know the last one was kind of fun. I did enjoy it. It was just popcorn movie, something to play around with. Yeah, I thought that was kind of fascinating. I did see that all the way back in January, but again, everything was kind of so up in the air, but we do know that those people are coming back to reprise their roles. And I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to do it, because that was a big list of names that they had coming back. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you're interested, go ahead and check that out as well.
I remember that movie came out.
Yeah.
Go on.
Definitely just popcorn movies. It's just junk food all the way through. It really is.
We should have a talk one of these times about legacy sequels. And what I mean by that is 2 perfect examples: Beetlejuice and Top Gun.
Oh.
You have movies that the original comes out 30 years ago, and then it has nothing for 2 or 3 decades, and then the sequel comes out with usually the original cast. Sometimes it's not just as good, it's better. Like Top Gun Maverick was a freaking phenomenal movie. I never
Oh,
seen
absolutely.
Beetlejuice
I know
2
there
though.
was
I
some.
never seen it.
Well, the funny thing about Beetlejuice 2 is we actually did sit down and try to watch it. I think we got like halfway through, and then it was like in the middle of the night, so we ended up stop watching it to like go get food or something. So then we both wanted to pay attention to it and not fall asleep. We still haven't finished watching it, unfortunately. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad movie. I'm just saying it as we just haven't gotten around to actually finish watching it, and it was just not on the
Right.
top of our movie list at the moment.
But yeah, before we cut for this episode, we've been trying to do this weekly news thing since like December, but we got caught up. We just wanted to get like the word out of some cool things happening in the world that you may or may not have heard of. That's happening, has happened, or will happen, or hopefully won't happen. But yeah, we just wanted to do that for a while.
Yeah, I think it's a nice little cap to the month. And there you have it, everyone. We hope you enjoyed this month's news week. I know there was some old news in mixed with some very new news. Let us know in the comments if there was anything that happened in the month of March that you thought was very interesting or fascinating or that you would like to share with the world. Let us know in the comments. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you on next week's episode of Apocalypse.